the perks of being a Venezuelan soldier. How are they benefiting from the Maduro government?
Well, they're given everything that the regular Venezuelan people aren't given. There's no shortages of foods in the military bases. They have the milk and the vegetable oil and everything that they need to get by. They're given cars. Give you an example. They imported about 20,000 cars for armed forces, but 8 cars were imported in Venezuela in August, to give you some perspective there. And they're given loans. There's a military bank there. They're given basically 100% financing for cars and other goods that they need. They're given loans at about 17%. When inflation's 63%, that's basically free money. Yeah, they're given basically housing as well, with tons of apartments that they need, and it keeps them happy.
I was going to ask you why it keeps them happy, but I guess I know the answer to this. If the military is happy, they may be unlikely to launch a coup.
Exactly. Venezuela is a country that's had 9 major coups in the last 100 years. The last one was in 2002 against Chavez. So this is an economy where everything's getting worse for everybody else. The people that you do not want to anger are the military, because once you lose the military, you know, you're next. So they're definitely keeping them happy and employed and giving them lots of things that they need.
Okay, this is not a nation at war, so how is Venezuela using the armed forces?
Exactly. Venezuela has never been at war, and they have this major presence of the military. Everywhere you go, you see military. They're using them in sectors in the economy. They've given them control over them, and they kind of keep them to keep the peace. When there were protests in February, they used them to kind of suppress the protests. 43 people were killed, and they use them whenever there's a nationalization. Like last year, there was a nationalization of an electronics company. The military rolled in. They were dispatched to take over because they were pricing their boom boxes too high. So they're used in many ways.
Is this a page from the playbook of Hugo Chavez? Did President Chavez basically do the same thing with the military? Sure. He being a military man himself?
True. Chavez was a paratrooper, and yeah. This is definitely a page from his book, but it's increased. For example, the amount of military men in Maduro's cabinet is 8 compared to 5 under Chavez. They've increased the amount of officers that have joined the ranks, and in Venezuela, you have 1 officer for every 34 for every 34 soldiers, compared to 1 officer to every 1,500 soldiers in the U.S. There's just simply, and the higher you are in the ranks, the more perks you get.
The dollar in the black market rose to over 100 just on Friday. What does this mean for ordinary Venezuelan citizens?
Sure, 100 is definitely a psychological barrier. If you think about it, the largest bill that Venezuela has to offer can only afford you the smallest bill in the U.S. And so everything, your day-to-day expenses get a lot higher because the official rate is a fixed rate. At about 6 per dollar. And then they have various other rates in the economy. But things are imported. Some things are imported at this rate, and then you can't afford them because your wages don't increase. And then distortions are created in the economy. People are trying to find ways to arbitrage this. That's the way they spend their time, finding things that they can sell at this rate and make money off of. And then people join different professions that they maybe otherwise wouldn't, just so they can get access to dollars. Basically, when inflation is at 63%, everything you're doing is trying to protect against the erosion of your savings.